I've realized caffeine is so heavily promoted only to create a slave worker society. With caffeine, you will keep getting crashes. You won't be able to think clear, your concentration will be one-dimensional, your body will be anxious all the time. All of this is keeping you from achieving your goals. I quit caffeine exactly June 2021, so about 21 months ago, while I was in Europe. It was horrible. I'm not going to sugarcoat this experience. In this video, I'll tell you the story of how I was brainwashed into thinking caffeine is amazing, how I got addicted, and my reasons for quitting. I will explain what exactly happened to my mind and body when I quit caffeine. Also, am I going back to caffeine? Watch this video till the end for real insight on why people are so grumpy and unfocused in modern society. You'll be shocked. This I promise. Let me start from the beginning. I began drinking caffeine in 10th grade because I had finals, and I was brainwashed into thinking caffeine helps with focus. I clearly remember I used to wake up really early to study. I'd study for about 20 minutes very proficiently, and then I'd make myself some oatmeal and a coffee. The moment I drank a single cup of coffee, I'd get so excited about the fact I'm studying, to the point I would start Snapchatting myself, take selfies of me studying. It's extremely cringy, I know. But hear this, after my cup of coffee, I would spend 1 hour marveling over the fact I'm studying, but in reality, I would not be studying. Caffeine would give me useless dopamine, a sense that I was achieving things in life, when in fact I wasn't even studying. It's really stupid. Over the years, I developed an eating disorder called anorexia, and I used to hang out on this app, Tumblr, where there was a secret community of people all with eating disorders, motivating each other, giving each other advice on how to get thin, and glorifying one another's unhealthiness. It's disgusting. But anyways, many pro-Annas on Tumblr used to promote coffee as the best thing for getting thinner and curbing appetite. So I started drinking a lot of caffeine, and I still had my eating disorder when I entered the University of Jordan. Around COVID, I used to drink several cups of coffee, plus 2 to 3 zero sugar, 0 calorie Monster Energies daily. And this is actually dangerous for the heart. It makes sense because I was really grumpy and snappy all the time. It was like I was not even me anymore, if that makes any sense. My personality had changed. If I didn't have my Monster Energy, I'd raise hell and get really pissed off about anything, basically. Dumb, I know. I healed from my eating disorder, mind and body, thanks to my romantic partner and also a health and fitness coach from Canada named Cole Robinson. Gratitudes. Around the time coronavirus travel restrictions were eased, my family and I decided to spend the whole summer in Europe. I was really addicted to coffee and energy drinks at the time, until one day I read this book. Actually, it took a week of reading since this book contains 600 pages. I was astonished by what I read. And in disbelief, I also searched for people's caffeine experiences on the net, and I found out caffeine really is not the best discovery on planet Earth. I was also able to finally explain to myself my constant sugar cravings, my grumpy mood, and my nervousness. Let me tell you what I've learned, just to save you 1 week of reading and researching. Good luck
to me getting shunned by the YouTube algorithm for everything I'm about to say.
Let's begin. Caffeine is a psychoactive drug. Coffee berries were first discovered by an Ethiopian sheep herder. Afterwards, Arabs made qahwa by drying the beans and making coffee into a drink. Arabs traded it around the world, whereas everybody went crazy about it. Caffeine is a biological pesticide produced by plants in order to discourage other creatures from wanting to eat it. Plants survive by creating this chemical, caffeine, because caffeine is highly toxic for bugs. You see, caffeine is a survival chemical weapon plants use to protect themselves. When we humans consume caffeine, we do not die as we are more complex organisms than bugs. But at least our bodies freak out because we suddenly have this toxic substance in our bodies. So our bodies release stress hormones and have to take measures to detox the caffeine from our bodies. This puts a lot of pressure on our bodies. Caffeine can't provide energy or increased mental activity. It only creates a chemical stimulation and a state of emergency and an illusion of alertness. This is backed by unsponsored studies cited in the book. Advertisements claim caffeine gives you energy. No, caffeine gives an illusion of energy because of a chemical reaction. And then you get fatigued and you need more caffeine to feel the same adrenaline-y way. Caffeine basically works by dumping stress hormones into your bloodstream. This is why we get hyper and jumpy on caffeine. Our body releases adrenaline, stress signals, like if we were in a situation of being chased after by a lion or something. But actually, there is no threat. The energy received from caffeine is stress, not energy. Plus, it's a loan taken from your liver and adrenals with extremely high interest rates. Effects of caffeine on the body: increased blood pressure, adrenal fatigue, hormone imbalance, directly linked to higher cholesterol, cardiovascular disease. Caffeine increases period struggles for women as it messes with hormones, pressure on the body, and thus slower recovery in general. Insulin secretion explains my sugar cravings while I was on caffeine, causing me to actually gain weight instead of lose weight. Caffeine affects iron absorption negatively and causes a loss of calcium, potassium, magnesium, sodium, chloride, zinc, B vitamins. In this sense, there is a risk of osteoporosis for heavy caffeine drinkers, anemia, which affects energy and immunity and other functions, decreases melatonin, a sleep-wake related hormone, accelerated aging, and skin oxidation. Coffee addicts get wrinkles fast, if you've noticed, bad gut biome, impairs digestion, and more. Let's note that in today's society, children increasingly consume caffeine with sugar, really unhealthy. Most fruit juice has caffeine, which isn't found there naturally. Even there's caffeinated beer now, energy bars, chocolate, even caffeinated bottled water. And let's note that the WHO says caffeine is a mild stimulant and it isn't addicting. This means customers forever. I can testify this is a fake statement, as I myself was addicted to caffeine. And I know this because I couldn't go a single day without my little caffeine, and when I did quit, I had withdrawal symptoms, ungodly withdrawal symptoms, such as nausea, headache, fatigue, muscle pain, anger, awful mood swings, cravings, cannot sleep. Like, these are the symptoms drug addicts experience when quitting drugs. Did you know babies born from a caffeine-addicted mother have withdrawal symptoms when delivered? Interesting. All coffee adverts show coffee as a bonding time between friends and loved ones, and they know that if you try it a few times, you'll be a lifelong customer, an addict, and a buyer forever. If you're enjoying my company, you can ironically buy me a coffee. This is just an app like Patreon. You don't actually buy me a coffee, but the amount you donate to support me is almost the amount a cup of coffee is worth. If you want, you can buy me a decaf coffee. I will leave the link in the description. Here are the effects on neurology. 1. Deconcentration, narrower view because of emergency overdrive, anxiety and stress, mood swings, feeling depleted, addiction, panic, tension, irritability, hostility. Here's a tremendous problem with caffeine. You're so unlikely to experience any deep sleep at all. Caffeine lengthens stage 2 of sleep, shortens stage 3, and often deletes stage 4, deep sleep. Most people would need less than 8 hours of sleep if they did not drink caffeine. My boyfriend, after quitting caffeine, began sleeping about 5 hours daily, which is, wow, shocking. Here's an interesting find. Those who promote caffeine and soft drinks love to cite research showing how users become tolerant to the stimulants and no longer feel it or experience insomnia. Notice that they do not talk about the degradation of sleep quality, but they only talk about the ability to fall asleep. We must realize that disturbed stage 4 sleep means that the caffeine drinker will wake up feeling tired instead of renewed. That's why most people wake up grumpy before their cup of coffee. Sounds familiar? Hear this. The human body is designed to last 100 years or more, but most of us fall apart at the age of 60 and die mid-70s. I wonder why. Could it be from all the toxic junk we're consuming? And maybe the trashy air? Perhaps because when the body is under stress, caffeine, it recovers much slower and less effectively handles incoming toxins. Caffeine messes up GABA, the hormone which makes you see clearly under stress. Just pausing for a second to remind you to subscribe and check out my Redbubble page when this video ends. I will leave the link. Monday is the most common day for heart attacks because through the weekend people drink less caffeine and on a Monday they slam down a lot of it. Here's why. From an evolutionary point of view, adrenaline events result in injury. So our blood gets thicker in order to quickly heal those injuries. Caffeine results in adrenaline release, which results in blood clots, which results in heart attack and heart issues and heart problems. Low magnesium also causes heart problems. And we actually mentioned that caffeine lowers magnesium and inhibits the absorption of it. 40% heart risk increase with each cup of coffee per day. Caffeine and environmental pollution damage reproductive health for both genders. And coffee is the most sprayed with toxic pesticides. What a surprise! When caffeine is used on animals, the ill effects are most concentrated in the reproductive and nervous system. Male rats and rabbits being fed the equivalent of 3 mugs of coffee for an average weighted man suffer testicular atrophy and low sperm counts. Caffeine increases ocular pressure, changing the fluid dynamic in the eyes, causing degeneration of the eye. Studies showed a group of 40-year-old women with elevated cortisol who drank a lot of caffeine had the bone density of 70-year-olds. Isn't that crazy? Cortisol is a stress hormone, by the way. Supplements work, but caffeine impairs absorption. Caffeine harms fetus in the womb and even harms nursing babies. There's this claim about antioxidants in coffee. Actually, I opened the original research and I found out in the research the antioxidants were found in the evaporations of the coffee. So actually, the research was not carried out very honestly. For instance, by proving human bodies can absorb those antioxidants. I mean, for all I know, those antioxidants probably evaporated by the time I drank it, by the time I drank the coffee. And even if there was absorbable antioxidants, the negatives far outweigh the positives. I mean, if people are that concerned about antioxidants, they could get a whole lot more by eating a handful of berries. Anyways, enough of those creepy sciencey stuff. If you're interested, there's a lot more to find if you read the Caffeine Blues book. But for now, I got my point through to most of you, I think. So what happened after I quit caffeine? It was hell. The first 3 weeks, I kept craving caffeine and I suffered headaches and migraines. I even felt like vomiting on some mornings. This is because it takes the body 3 weeks to detox caffeine. But 2 months later, oh, how amazing it felt to be sober. I'd wake up feeling tranquil instead of groggy. I could think clearly, I could focus for hours. My social anxiety was gone. I was so chill, calm, no longer snappy or jumpy. I wasn't overthinking. I wasn't thinking 1,000 thoughts at the same instance anymore. Dropped a few kilos just like that, without even trying or noticing. My relationship with my family seriously improved. Because I was no longer acting in this childish, cranky way the whole time. I was myself again. I settled back into my true personality. I realized I'm again the way I used to be. This calm, positive, spiritual, thoughtful person I once used to be. It's like the veil had been lifted. It's like there was a veil in front of my eyes stopping me from seeing and focusing clearly. And the veil was finally lifted. I even noticed my skin was shinier. My nails were no longer brittle, and I stopped being jittery. Most importantly, I became infinitely more productive. I wrote a book, a whole 300-page novel. I was able to focus on my art. I drew every day. I started an art business, and I created this YouTube channel. And a YouTube channel, my friends, is very high maintenance. I opened a Redbubble and a Fiverr shop. I started earning money even as a bachelor student. I had more time and energy to read self-improvement books. So am I going back to caffeine? So back to the timeline, I basically stopped coffee cold fish for about 8 months or 9, something like that. And then I started drinking caffeine strategically. I really love the taste of Monster Energy, and maybe part of my body still remembers the addiction. What I did is I did not go back to caffeine, but instead I started having 2 caffeine days per month. Did you know long ago there used to be coffee bars? For instance, 17th century Vienna and Paris. Artists, musicians, thinkers, and philosophers would meet there to strategically go mad and come up with ideas, basically. So I don't think coffee is totally useless. I do not need those caffeine days to be true to myself, but I decided, I don't know why, but I give myself 2, max 3 caffeine days monthly. In these days, I know I'll be really hyperproductive for about an hour at most. I would have to throw my phone in a kitchen drawer the whole day, so I'd better be able to focus. After that 1 hour of work, I'd crash, I'd need a nap, I'd get tired and anxious. The effects of caffeine are so noticeable on those limited number of caffeine days I have, and each time I get mad at myself for having a caffeine day. But anyways, I drink caffeine strategically to get things done really quick. Although I know I'll malfunction and crash the whole incoming day, and I will have sleep problems. I'll toss and turn at night in bed, even 12 hours after my coffee. It's so crazy that I couldn't notice this was the reason for my insomnia. Caffeine. If you often get into bed and feel like your legs are so full of energy and you just want to run or to stomp your feet on the ground, or sometimes if you have a million thoughts in your head, a million ideas when you're supposed to be sleepy, or if you can't find a comfortable position, chances are this is caused by caffeine still lingering in your bloodstream. Also, I think that there is a correlation between the fact everyone nowadays claims they have ADHD, which is attention deficit, so bad concentration, hyperactivity, stress hormones, disorder. And I think there is a link between how heavily we are exposed to overstimulation and too much information from ads and social media, scattered ideas, scattered info, and also our caffeine intake and our intake of junk with this phenomenon or occurrence. In conclusion, caffeine is very heavily consumed today and is used to reinforce a slave worker society, a society full of addicted consumers unable to reach their full potential. I'd say there perhaps is no harm in drinking coffee every once in a while, but seriously, caffeine is not healthy. It is not as harmless as we are led to believe. Listen, I know the YouTube algorithm is suppressing my videos because of the topics I tackle, and for some reason YouTube hates artists and isn't promoting us. So if you find yourself benefiting from my content, please share. If you want to help me succeed, please like this video, comment and subscribe with the bell icon so you'll be notified whenever I upload new videos. Thank you for watching. I hope you benefited from this video. Subscribe to not miss out on any more self-improvement, creativity, productivity content.